This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday. Contrasting styles of Neil Coulong and Matt Catrillo on full display today. As we go from the insane asylum to the captain of logic. I felt that was an accurate portrayal.
I feel like when you're like 15 seconds late like that, you're doing the Chris Collinsworth chair slide into your microphone.
Occasionally. I mean, I was here. I just was in the other room, in the outer room here. That's all. I was down here. I was listening to Dan Patrick, and I said, well, there's something else I can get done here. So I was doing it. I thought something very simple. but I was like, I have a couple minutes to do it. I didn't quite finish it, but, I mean, you know, we got there. All right. So, interesting times, as always. This is Big Ten Media Day, the first of three. Okay, the first of three. All right? And that is it. That's what makes this so interesting. The fact that the conference is so big now, that's what you have to do. You have to do it over 3 days. The first one up will be Tony Petitti, the commissioner. He will be speaking at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Remember, this is at Mandalay Bay, right? Because it's at Mandalay Bay. That's what's so... that's also part of what makes this interesting. But it's in Las Vegas. Okay.
I saw one of the national media guys say it's his third year he's been to Las Vegas for a media day for the third different conference.
Yeah. That's because, hey, look, this is what, I mean, people want to go there. It's a great place to go to, blah, 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 blah. Okay? Okay? And so I got it. But you're also talking about you're also talking about spreading it out like this. James Franklin doesn't go till tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's 2:45 our time.
Yep. So he goes tomorrow. And that's fine.
I am interested to see what Tony Petitti says, but...
Okay. Tony, what I'm going to be interested to see from him is to whether there's any room to negotiate here, okay, on this college football playoff in his mind, or whether he is steadfast in his thought process on the college football playoff. Now remember, Tony is a media guy. He is a media guy. And that's something we have to remember about him. So when you're looking at a guy that, for example, has an idea of having 3 play 6 and 4 play 5, with the idea of making it a more intriguing, right? Make it a more intriguing championship Saturday, right? I mean, look at the last year's championship Saturday. Okay. Last year's championship Saturday involved one game where Arizona State played Iowa State, the winner was in. Winner take all. Okay. One that was Clemson and SMU, where because Clemson won, they won their way in. Okay, got it. Okay. And then you had Penn State, Oregon. Well, Penn State, Oregon, the winner of that game was going to get a first-round bye. The other one was in the playoff, was going to have to host a game. Third out was Penn State, beat SMU, then beat Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl, got to the semifinals. Then there is Texas and Georgia. Same scenario. Georgia won the game. Georgia ends up at 2. They got a first-round bye. Texas ends up playing in the opening round, beat Clemson down in Austin. Okay. I mean, that's right. That is that's how the playoff went last year. So you only had one game where it was winner take all. You did have another game where the team that won was in a win you're in, lose you're out deal, and everybody else was safe. What he's proposing for the Big Ten, and is hoping the SEC also adopts, is that you got 3 versus 6 and 4 versus 5, because now he understands what does he understand as a TV person that'll excuse me, that a lot of people don't get. Okay? Well, what a lot of people don't get is actually, people do get. I should say people do get. All right? It's the other way around. They understand the meaning of games with stakes. And that's what he's trying to create.
You're also kind of circumventing 12 teams, 16 teams, whatever, because in theory, if they both adopt it, 4 extra teams are getting a chance to get into the playoffs.
Right. Right. And that's what you're doing. These would be, quote, play-in games.
I was going to say, you're creating your own play-in weekend.
Yeah. That's what you're doing. It's a play-in game. Okay. Just throwing it out there.
I think it's one of those things that we talk about that kind of sounds ridiculous right now, but I think people would enjoy if it actually happened.
Yeah.
Because if you had 4 games with the playoff at stake and all 4 are competitive, they'll do some serious ratings.
Right, and that's what they're looking. That's how Tony thinks. That's how Tony thinks. He's thinking about ratings. Okay.
And I think you made this point before. If they both do it, you're getting Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State probably in one of the Big Ten games, and Alabama, Georgia, or Texas in one of the SEC games.
Right. And that's what you're thinking. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Right? I'm not. I think if anybody criticizes it, I understand why. It's also extra games. You know.
But your automatic qualifier gets that week off, though, too. So they get extra rest.
Yeah, but you know what? That's the weird part. The weird part is last year, all 4 teams that got the bye what did they end up with? Losses. That was the weird part.
Yeah, but that gets said a lot. But it's Boise State and Arizona State are the ones that got the byes, though.
Right. I mean, that may be, to be honest with you, that may be an aberration.
Especially now that it's straight seed.
Yes. But I'm just saying there's a fine line between time off and rust.
Well, how long did they end up off? They ended up off almost 3 weeks, right? Like it was more than 14 days.
Yeah. Yeah, that is what they did. And I don't know. If that, but again, that just this may be an aberration.
Is the ACC doing something today too?
Yes, they're going the same time.
Okay, because I saw Rhett Lashley said that he didn't want the committee to decide the teams in the college football playoff, and somebody made the point. Well, the committee's the one that put you in last year.
Right. I mean, that's what that's what you did.
Well, it worked out. I don't know why we would be against something that worked out pretty well for you.
I mean, that opened the door on your. I mean, you went to Austin last year. Okay? Because you went to Austin, you're in good shape. If I were you, I would endorse it.
That was the other thing. We were talking about the playoff. We were talked when you were still here that Brett Yormark had said that, the Big Ten and the SEC don't have all the power in the playoff. Did you see when they asked Sankey that last week? And he was like, "Oh no, that's not true. We have all the power."
He's right.
I know, but
he's right. Believe me, they do have all the power. I mean, when you got 51% of the veto, okay? I mean, what the heck?
I guess on his piece of paper, Brett has power, but
well, he's got power to a point.
But when you explain it like that,
I mean, veto power? Yeah, sure.
51-49, still the majority.
Yeah. Last I checked, that's how it works. I mean, it's just like, there's just certain things out there that like some people don't get. And like there's been a lot. I mean, I'm not going to get into the late night TV thing beyond just saying this. All right. But when you are sitting there and you are like Stephen Colbert, there are two pieces of paper that tell the entire story of a business. Okay? And what are those two pieces of paper? Expenses, revenues. Anybody out there that doesn't get that concept does have a problem.
Now, see, it's funny, and I won't even go to the Stephen Colbert thing. I'll just go strictly radio because I just read a thing by that Dan Patrick said that's not a real way to measure things. That's not how they're measuring things anymore.
Oh no, they're trying to come up with different clever ways of measuring it, but that's the bottom line.
Well, no, I think his point is the old way of measuring ratings and such things is obsolete.
Ratings,
and things like that.
But Colbert financially, his show is losing between 40 and 50 million per year. Okay,
that's like believing the WNBA is losing $50 million and it's not an accounting trick.
Right. I mean, and that's. I mean, that is. When you look at. I mean, measuring ratings is different. I'm talking about, like, revenue versus expenses.
Yeah, nobody cared how much money he made until now, though. They didn't care until now.
You want to know why? And it's a big deal right now. No,
because you don't want to get into politics.
No, it has nothing zero to do with politics. This is what I'm going to say.
It has everything to do with politics and why he got canceled.
No, they are being bought right now.
Yeah, they're being bought, and they paid a bribe, right, and they paid a bribe to the president.
Well, you can have that opinion all you want, but with they're sitting there. What's the company that?
Are we going to have this argument when 60 Minutes and the Daily Show are canceled?
No. I'm saying that what is the name of the company that they do all the Mission Impossible movies?
Paramount.
Yeah, but Paramount's one of them, but there's another part of Paramount. Begins with an S.
Oh, who's buying them? Sundance or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And how do you make anything more workable in a sale? You cut assets. I mean,
or the president holds it up until you pay him $32 million.
I'm just saying that's how business works. It's plus and minus. All right. Hey, just like there was a movie about radio years ago. Oh, and the name of the actor, I think he's the actor that was in the movie The Martian, who was the brains of the operation. And he was in the movie Radio, and he was the program director. And I think it was Martin Sheen was the owner. And he says, we've got to get rid of, let's just pick a name, Todd. Big Bob. Okay? We got to get rid of Big Bob. What are you talking about? He says, I love Big Bob. Big Bob, I mean, it's the whole thing. Like he says, and he looks at me and says, no, you love Big Bob. I said, I don't. I was like, okay. It's like, we're in the radio business. We've heard that one before, right? Yeah. You love Big Bob, but we've got an issue here. Oh, goodness
Just gracious. So everybody loves us.
Yeah. That's what we're working on, buddy. We're working on that. We're trying our best. Trying our best. All right, opening half hour. We got Matt next. I mean, Did the Yankees? I didn't even look. Did the Yankees win last night?
They did not. 11 in a row for the Blue Jays at home.
Okay, but did you see? I was watching when this happened. How the Phillies won last night?
I did.
Now they were going to win the game anyway because Jordan Hicks didn't have it last night. Okay, he did not have it. Simple as that. Okay, but golly, catcher's interference, and it was absolutely the right call.
I don't know how the home plate umpire didn't hear it in real time.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't smack the glove. He ticked the glove, but he did hit the glove. That is the definition of catcher's interference.
I have a pretty decent sound bar, and I heard the click on my TV, but
there you go.
I just feel like he might have heard it.
Okay, I used to have a sound bar.
Did you see the last time it happened?
It was 50 years ago, but I don't know what the...
It was Johnny Bench.
Bench?
And it wasn't catcher's interference like it was last night. It was catcher's interference and a balk at the same time because he stepped in front of home plate while a guy was trying to steal home with the bases loaded in the bottom of the ninth.
Really?
Yeah, so it was a balk and balk and catcher's interference on the same play.
Wow.
I also saw one that I didn't know. Did you know if the ball goes under the catcher's equipment that it is a dead ball and the runner gets a base?
In other words, it gets trapped?
Yeah, it was a wild pitch and it went underneath the catcher's chest protector.
Okay, yeah, chest protector or shin guard, yeah.
Yeah, I had never seen that before. I think it was in the Pirates game.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer.
$7 in interest on a 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe with 19 to choose from. And save $9,780 in interest over the term on 2025 Palisades. But you have to act fast. SMC only has 8 remaining. Remember, all new Hyundais come with Hyundai Assurance and are backed by America's best warranty. 10 years, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Be a hero with 0. Hurry in now and save $9,780 in interest over 5 years on a 2025 Palisade and $8,987 in interest over the 5 years on a 2025 Hyundai Santa Fe. Only at Sunbury Motors Hyundai in the North 4th Street Auto Plaza, Sunbury. Vehicle savings based on finance comparison between 0% and 5.99% APR for 60 months. See dealer for details. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Hello, great to have you with us on the show today. This half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance. Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV, Medicare products. They handle it all. At Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. And now...
He has not rung in yet, sir.
Oh, from the refrigerator.
Hey.
Every time we turn around, the guy's an issue.
There we go. It's like he heard.
All right. Well, let's see here. And there he is. The only guy on the face of the earth that agrees with Ian O'Connor that Aaron Judge is the greatest Yankee of all time.
No, I would heavily disagree with that. He's certainly getting up there, but he's not the greatest.
Up there what?
Absolutely
you can't.
not.
Okay, see, Mantle hit 18 World Series home runs. Okay, Babe Ruth hit 15. Joe DiMaggio, right? Lou Gehrig, okay? Your guy dropped a fly ball in the deciding game of the World Series. Okay.
Exactly. Plus, he didn't really hit much until that last game anyway. Yeah, exactly. He's got to do way more in the postseason to get himself in that category. Sure, he's heading up the all-time home run leaderboard. He just passed A-Rod, but he's still got to have his big impact in the postseason, and he just hasn't had it. So, yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't know where Ian O'Connor's getting this from. And even so, look at somebody like Yogi Berra, who's got 10 World Series titles. Let's look at Derek Jeter, who's got 5 and has had many, many iconic moments. Even if Aaron Judge were to tear it up for the back half of his career the rest of the way, he's still not going to catch those two alone.
Well, I think it was Ian's first article with The Athletic, I believe. And so, that's just, I think part of what that was about. Ian, write something about Aaron Judge. He gets clicks. And this goes back, Todd, you were making this point earlier, right? About how things are determined these days. One of them is streaming numbers, right, Todd? And another one is clicks.
I was just going to say, clicks.
I mean, the newspaper business, it's clicks, 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 right?
I wish it was more clicks, 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 but yes.
Well, I'll start clicking in more.
But you're absolutely right, because I lived that too. That's all we had to do is we had to literally change the way we did high school sports when I was a reporter in Lebanon, just so we could try to get more clicks. That's the way it is. And then when you look at this higher up scale, like with Ian O'Connor's situation, starting with Athletic, anytime you see a big name like change a different news organization, they have to come up with this big topic and pick some sort of hot topic and pick a side to it, have some sort of hot take, and then that's like their first big article. It doesn't have to be that way. I already know who you are and what you can do. These guys have already established all their credibility. Just pick up where you left off. You're just with a different platform now. I don't need this to be a big production.
So why does your team stink?
They stink because they're finally coming back down to earth as the team that I thought they were this season. Well, really go back to spring training. I didn't know what they were going to be. I didn't think they were as good as when they were beginning of the season. And here's where they are now. Injuries are finally catching up to them, especially on the pitching side of things, as I suspected. But here's the bottom line, is it goes back to the three people that are in charge of this organization. Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, Al Steinbrenner. Starting with Aaron Boone.
And Aaron Judge.
As I've said time and time and again, this guy does not hold his players accountable. Now, all of a sudden, you see all these different tips he's having with players because he's finally trying to hold them accountable for stinking up the place, and now he's getting lit back from them because guess what? This is the first time they're like, oh, this guy's actually holding us accountable. I don't like it. Well, maybe if you did that in the first place, maybe you wouldn't be having these arguments that are constantly on camera now. The latest one was with Trent Grisham. He's already had one with Anthony Volpe, I think, and he had one with another young player. I forgot who it was exactly. And it's just going down and down the line. So which leads me to this point. Unless the Yankees get back to and or win the World Series this year, this guy cannot be the manager because he's clearly losing the clubhouse. And as I've said before, I've always been consistent about this. Once you lose the locker room or the clubhouse, you're gone. You're done. You're finished. The GM, Brian Cashman, we've talked about it before. He just hasn't done his job correctly for the longest. set of time. He's been long needing to make a change. But then we get to the owner, Hal Steinbrenner. This has been about as embarrassing as the organization has been lately, and it's all because you have this guy that constantly is getting outbid and is not using his resources anymore. That you're the New York Yankees. You should be outbidding anybody and everybody until there is a salary cap in baseball, and we'll see where that goes. But no, you didn't get Juan Soto. You haven't been aggressive at all the last couple of years. So this is where this is going to be. As I've always said, it starts from the top down. The Yankees need a complete overhaul. I'd love to see a new owner, but I know it's probably not going to happen. But they at least need a new general manager and a new manager going into next year, unless somehow this team gets back to the World Series, which I don't see happening. Right now, whether they somehow win the division again, whether they just go to the wild card round, they're going to be a one-and-done team. This team doesn't know how to play the game, plain and simple. They just do not know how to play the game. They can't run the bases. They can't field the ball. They don't hit timely. That's why, Steve Jones, to answer your question, this is not a very good baseball team right now.
Do you take breaths at all during your rants?
It depends on the topic.
He's breathing through his nose.
Yes, that's correct.
This is like listening to the suit to a Shikellamy football game. I don't even know if he breathes. Then finally Dave gets to say 3 words.
Matt, you know who doesn't own a baseball team? Josh Harris.
Yeah, you know what?
That's shocking. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten it. Well, actually, you're wrong. Kind of wrong. They're looking to try to buy an MLB franchise. So it may be a matter of time, but you're right. Right now they do not, but it's a matter of time before they do, I think.
Maybe he'll buy the Yankees.
Well, if that's the case, then I'll definitely need to change allegiances after that, because I can't take 2 of my teams with a Josh Harris ownership. I'm sorry.
Come on.
I have to move on. I'm out.
Come on. You know? Hey, I mean, you can switch to the Phillies. They had a big win last night on catcher's interference.
You know, I just might, and they play each other this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it was the right call, by the way. Look, the Phillies were going to...
absolutely the right call.
The Phillies were going to win the game anyway because there was bases loaded, nobody out, and Jordan Hicks is having trouble finding the plate. So I find it to be a long shot that he could have pitched his way out of it. But it sure was an intriguing way to end the game.
Absolutely, but yeah, that was absolutely the right call. It couldn't have been more obvious, in my opinion.
I thought Crucky and Tommy handled it really well last night. That was well done. So
yes, I agree, hands down.
Right. Paul George wounded. Joel Embiid wounded. Matt Catrillo mentally wounded.
I was going to say, I think Joel Embiid's more mentally wounded at this point after seeing that article by... That whole thing was just bizarre to me, to be honest with you. I mean, everybody's going off about how they feel about Embiid, but to me, like, who is this guy that wrote it, first of all? I've never even heard of this guy. This guy seems like this is some random dude they pulled off the street that somehow knows Joel Embiid, and he puts together this mega piece on him about his entire career so far. Like, I don't even know who this guy even is that he wrote this for ESPN. It was a very good article, but I just don't know who the heck he is at all.
Well, you do now.
I can't even pronounce his name.
You do now.
Yes. And
I mean, I never heard of it.
As far as the story itself, now I get it. It was obviously one-sided because he's right there with this inside access to Joel Embiid, but as I'm reading through it, I'm like, okay, we knew that. Okay, we knew that. Okay, we knew that. That the Sixers organization basically ruined him, especially the medical team during the days of Sam Hinkie and managing his injury, and it got to him. This was more mental with Joel Embiid than I think it was physical. Actually, no, I don't think. It was, clearly, if you read the article. All this stuff ruined Joel Embiid mentally, which led to all the physical issues, and here we are right now. And this is definitely the selling point for me that the Sixers, I don't know how they're going to or if they're going to, but it's time to move on from this guy because this is officially rock bottom for the relationship between the Sixers and Joel Embiid, in my opinion.
So, is it safe to say the only time you have any joy is during football season?
Yes, and I'm very thankful for that. If the Eagles haven't been as good as they've been the last several years, this all would be really bad. My sports life would be pretty be like Kevin's, honestly. Be like the two. and he knows what I'm talking about. To be honest with you, and he would agree probably. It would be pretty miserable. The Eagles have literally been the only thing that I have had, and I think most Philly fans have had, other than a couple of good years from the Phillies. But yeah, because the winter teams are just non-existent. At least you have maybe some glimmer of hope for the Flyers. A lot, to me, still has to happen. I still don't think they made a right move with the head coach. I could care less if they hired Rick Tocchet, but at least you have some players that you can get excited about. But the Sixers, I mean, this is as bad as it gets.
So it'll be just fringe motorsports and minor league hockey for you too, Matt?
So in other words, Matt, for you, like when they put the Ocho on, that's when you get sports satisfaction in the off football season?
For me, it's Eagles. It's all about Eagles football and Bucknell athletics. Those are like my top two, and Notre Dame, of course. Those the successes of those three teams or so, those two schools and the Eagles have kind of kept me sports sane right now.
Well, it certainly can't be Luke's ability to hit the ball off the tee.
Well, that's Mark, and we're definitely getting there now. Now we've been working on the soft
Luke
toss.
doesn't play.
He's hitting it. Mark has been hitting the ball by regular pitching. We've moved on to regular pitching, and I changed up the different speeds, and we're making some contact. So I'm feeling pretty good about T-ball next summer for Mark.
So you gave up on your oldest son and just went right to the middle kid?
Well, he didn't have any interest. I'm not going to push it on him if he doesn't have interest.
Why doesn't he have any interest?
Luke would rather shovel coal in the train and work on stuff in the yard, and Mark would just rather play sports. I'll let Luke do his thing. That's fine. But Mark's showing interest in playing sports, so we've been working on it, and so far it's been pretty good.
So does Luke watch any of the games with you?
Oh, yeah, sometimes he will. Absolutely. I think Luke does enjoy it. Maybe he's just trying to humor me. Like, we all watched the Super Bowl together, and that was fun.
Oh, that was a hostage situation.
They both were watching with me during the Saquon backwards hurdle against the Jaguars, which is now the SB Play of the Year. So they have seen some things.
They've seen some things, all right.
Oh, I bet they have. I'd like to pull those three kids aside and get a couple of stories.
I think Mark still might be having nightmares of me carrying him around the room during the Cooper DeJean pick six.
I was sitting at a restaurant. We were like, oh, there you go. Yeah. I told you the story about where I saw the backwards hurdle, right?
No, I don't think you actually told me where you were at that time.
I was at football practice Sunday night, and Kenny Sanders, who's one of the recruiting geniuses, and I mean that sincerely, comes over to me at practice, and I was standing with Doctors Greg Billy and Dr. Wayne Sebastianelli, and he says, you guys need to see this. And Saquon goes, and he makes the spin move first, and Greg says, wow. And Kenny says, no, wait. And we're all three of us like, yo. How about that one?
Yeah, my jaw was down for several minutes after that play.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the three of us hadn't seen him hurdle before, but not that. And as for being the SB Play of the Year, I will freely admit that I have a perfect record on the ESPYs. Never watched.
I didn't either. I was just watching them going through on social media. But, yeah, that was fun, though.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I'm sure it was. You know? Did your quarterback get enough credit?
You know, I'm just so exhausted by the whole thing. I think take us to the other side of the state. I'm exhausted by all the T.J. Watt nonsense, and I'm exhausted about the Jalen Hurts comparisons, too.
No, you're wrong about T.J. Watt. You're wrong about T.J. Watt because what T.J. Watt did was that after Myles Garrett set the bar, he moved the bar a little bit higher, which now plays into what's happening with Micah Parsons. It's a significant signing, and he didn't do a hold-in at the training camp and wait till 10 days before the season to do it. But it's significant in that what Garrett did was significant. Watt then followed it up by getting a little bit more. That's significant. Now it sets up whatever bar there is or isn't there for Micah Parsons. So, I mean, that's the significance of it. So I think it actually was a very important signing.
Oh no, I don't discredit that one. What I'm exhausted about is there's been a lot of talk in the Pittsburgh media about whether the Steelers should pay him or not, and if he's deserving of that. That's what I'm exhausted about because, yes, he is deserving of it. He deserves every penny of it.
Yeah, no, I mean but that's a fair debate to have. I mean, that's a fair debate because this is the third contract. Age does enter into it. Trey Hendrickson's going through a contract deal with Cincinnati. Hendrickson's going to be 30 or 31, Todd, by the end of the year. 30
yeah,
or 31?
I believe 31.
Yeah. And, I mean, you're talking about third contracts now, the ones that set you up for the rest of your life. And Henderson's not even remotely, supposedly the offer to him's in the 20s. I'm just glad this isn't my money.
Well, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on that because I want three things to happen. Stay in Cincy, somehow get to the Eagles, which I don't see happening from a cap standpoint. And thirdly, don't go to Washington because I know the Commanders are looking at that, are closely monitoring that too. Because I don't need another good defensive player in the division right now.
That's what happens when you have a great owner. All right. All right, Matt, give those kids a hug. John Paul have any sports interest, or is he just like meandering along clueless?
It depends on the day. Sometimes he wants to be with Luke. Sometimes he wants to try to shoot hoops and hit the bat. So I think we're still finding out about John Paul.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you guys next week.
The half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.